Hello, America. There is a lot going on in Egypt. It's happening fast, and none of it's good. If anybody looks at history, you will see the beginnings of the French Revolution. You will begin to see the beginnings of what happened in 1979 when Iran fell into the hands of Islamic radicals. 32 years ago to the day tomorrow. They went on to an Islamic republic. How quickly we forget. It is like watching history just repeat itself before our eyes. Mubarak today, there were reports that he was going to step down. Yeah, he was going to step down. That was the first thing. Then he said that he would wait until September to step down. And then I'm not really sure what happened. Then it was the VP was going to get all the power. And then the military was going to have power. And then none of that happened. None of it. Mubarak just spoke an hour ago and announced that he's not going to step down early. He'll wait until September. I don't see a happy ending to this man. I really don't. Mubarak did say he was going to hand off some of his duties to the VP, but he's still staying on, so does that really matter? And do you know who the VP is? It's not good. So here's the results in Egypt. It's chaos. This is not a happy group of people. They were ready to celebrate. We're going to break down what is happening and what will likely happen next. And as you will see, the steps that they are taking there, let alone what's happening in Algeria this weekend and happening in Jordan right now. They're not good. But before we get into the microcosm of what is happening here, we want to look at the big picture. I want to show you a story in the New York Times. Gee, I wonder why they're irrelevant. The New York Times is the first one to actually verify, and it happened today, actually verify that we have been absolutely accurate on this story. We are the only ones that have given you the full picture, and now we're looking to the New York Times and the rest of the news media to explain what's going on today or what's going to happen tomorrow. They haven't gotten it yet. But let me give you what was on the front page of the story today. It's Wired and Shrewd. Young Egyptians guide revolt. Young Egyptians guide revolt. Maybe wait until you see the president's speech. I'll save it for that. So here it is on the front page. Now remember, here is what I said was happening. And I said in 3 sentences, this is what was happening on day 2 of this revolt. I said, radical Islamists, communist and socialist will work together against Israel, will work together against capitalism, will work together to overthrow and overturn stability. Mocked for it. Here is what the New York Times blindly stumbles upon today, and then they extol this as a good thing. They describe some of the individuals who helped spur on the unrest and how the young is there, and they're using the internet, and how they laid out a weekly protest schedule, which has been followed by to the T, by the way, including today. And then they actually write this. I love this. Here it is. In the process, many have formed some unusual bonds that reflect the non-ideological character of the Egyptian youth revolt, which encompasses liberals, socialists, and members of the Muslim Brotherhood. Notice they don't say communist yet. Quote, I like the Brotherhood most, and they like me, said Sally Moore, a 32-year-old psychiatrist that should have her head checked, a Coptic Christian, and an avowed leftist and feminist of mixed Irish-Egyptian roots. They always have a hidden agenda, we know. And you never know when power comes how they'll behave. Excuse me? Could we fix reason firmly in our seat for a minute for this 32-year-old nincompoop? I know, and you know they have a hidden agenda. What do you think that hidden agenda is, little Miss Leftist Feminist Christian? Does it involve, oh, I don't know, a big sword to the head of people like you? But this leftist knows that's a risk, but is willing to work with the Brotherhood. Why? Quote, but they're very good with organizing. They're calling for a civil state just like everyone else. So let them have a political party just like everyone else. They'll not win more than 10%, I think. Oh. They're good at organizing. Organizing for America. Community organizing. It's the buzzword that will change the world. She's saying, we don't agree. She admits they have a hidden agenda, but rationalized working with them because they're good at organizing, and they'll only get 10% of the vote. Oh. They thought the same thing about Hamas, and Hamas won huge victories in Gaza. How's that working out? The leftist and extreme Islam working together. But there's more. From the New York Times. Islam Lofty, a lawyer who is a leader of the Muslim Brotherhood Youth, says his group used to enlist others from the tiny leftist parties to stand with them in calling for civil liberties to make their cause seem more universal. Many are now allies in the revolt, including Zayed El-Amidi, a 30-year-old lawyer who was then the leader of the communist group. Make it seem more mainstream. And the New York Times doesn't even notice that maybe this is a bad thing. Why are we in so much trouble? Why is America suffering from our own mistakes in the Middle East? Why? Because we have had the idea that my enemy, the enemy of my enemy, is my friend. I've got news for you. He's your enemy. He's not your friend. In Egypt, all over the world, we get into bed with brutal dictators. Why? Because it serves our purposes. It serves our purposes. Well, we are about to pay for it. These people have paid for our mistakes for 30 years. And we're about to pay for it now. And yet the New York Times, they see how bad Mubarak is, but they don't see holding radicals up, radical Islamicists and communists, leftists, feminists, all of them out on the street. They don't think that that's a bad thing, that nothing's going to come out of that bad. Now, How have we survived this long being this stupid? Good heavens! I don't even understand how we survived a week with a media like this. Are you kidding me? All these Harvard know-it-alls that have no clue as how to... They are given the story. They write the damn story. And yet, they will see, come with me, they will see this. In the paper, front page, they see this. But they'll say, this is crazy. Oh, this is crazy. What? Oh, and then he says it's going to cascade into a revolution throughout the Middle East, and it could possibly affect Egypt or Europe. It could possibly affect London. Oh, that's crazy talk. Really? And of course our president, our president is proud of the youth. Listen to our president, what he said today about Egypt.
Transformation that's taking place because the people of Egypt are calling for change. And they've turned out in extraordinary numbers, representing all ages in all walks of life, but it's young people who've been at the forefront. A new generation, your generation, who want their voices to be heard.
See if I have this right. This is only happening. This is a day of transformation. Fundamental transformation, Mr. President. This is a day of transformation. Why? Because the people have called for change. Your slogan, too. And it's all people. But mainly, it's young people, just like you. You can change the world, transform it. Wow. Thank you for your leadership and guidance, Mr. President. Do you know why I have bored you to tears for 2.5, 3 weeks on this story? I said on day 2, I walked over to that wall because they were already calling me Chicken Little. And I pointed out those things, and I said, I am going to plant my flag on this, and I will fall on my sword if I have to. Everyone has said this program was crazy.